Hello class. This beginner tutorial teaches you how to create a simple graphical user interface and add simple backend functionality. In particular, I will show you how to code the behavior of buttons and fields in a swing form. Before I start, I'd like to give the credits to Netbeans organization for these video lectures. Let's work through the layout and design of a GUI and add a few buttons and text fields. The text fields will be used for receiving user input and also for displaying the program output. The button will initiate the functionality built into the front end. The application I create will be a simple but functional calculator. Just like this one in the picture wherein the user can add two numbers. Then all objects in place should be functional, like the add button, the clear button, and the exit button. To create an IDE project for the application that we are going to develop, we will name our project last name number addition. So you can click the new project icon here in the IDE toolbar or Control Shift End on your keyboard or choose File, New Project, and then in the New Project dialog box, in the Categories pane, select the Java node. In the Projects pane, choose Java Application, then click Next. Type last name number addition. For example, if your last name is Kahandab, you type your last name, then followed by number addition in the project name. So that would be our project name. And specify a path as the project location. So, but if you are satisfied with the location, then no more changing. Deselect the create main class checkbox if it is selected. Then click finish. Then give some times to the IDE to generate our package. There you are. So click the plus sign to see what's inside. To proceed with building our interface, we need to create a Java container within which we will place the other required GUI components. In this step, we'll create a container using the Jframe component. We will place the container in a new package which will appear within the source packages node. Now let's create a Jframe container. In the projects window here, right click the last name number addition node and choose new, and then in the submenu select other. In the new file dialog box, choose the swing GUI forms in the categories and Jframe form in the file types. Then Click Next. Enter last name. So again, if your last name is Kandab, enter last name, number, addition, UI, short for user interface, as the class name. Then enter last name. This is to protect your work. Enter last name, number, addition, as the package name. So we have here the class name, then our package name. Then click Finish button. Then give some times to the IDE. The IDE now creates the number addition UI form and the number addition UI class within the number addition application, and opens the number addition UI form in the GUI builder. So the last name number addition package replaces the default package. Next, we will use the palette to populate our application's front end with JPanel. Then we will add 3 Jlabels, 3 Jtext fields, and 3 JButtons. Let us first resize our GUI builder, and then before we add the JPanel, I think this is enough for our simple calculator, enough space for our simple calculator. So let's add the JPanel. Anyway, we can resize it later, we can adjust it later. Okay, then let's label the panel. Simply right click on the ellipsis, but here at the border, and then click title border. In the title field, you type number addition. You can change the color of the font. You can also change the font, but if you are satisfied with that, then no more changing. Apply font style like bold, and then change the font size, 12 for example. Then click OK. Then click OK to exit another dialogues. So this is now our JPanel. Now we can insert Jlabel for our first number and second number and the result. So in the palette again, you look for the Jlabel object and then drag and drop it. So it's up to you to balance your design. Then let's add another Jlabel for the second number. Then another Jlabel for the result. So simply click the object to the from the palette, then move it to the GUI builder area. Then let's rename the Jlabel by double clicking it. type first name, enter, and then type, double click, type second number, enter. I stand corrected with this one. Let's edit it. It should be first number, enter, and then double click, type here the result, the sum. Okay, then we can now insert the Jtext field. Click it from the palette and then drag and drop it in the GUI builder area. You can resize it. Then let's add another Jtext field. Drag and drop it. Add another Jtext field for the result. Let's resize it. Or simply select all the Jtext field. Press the Control key on the keyboard. Right click any of the Jtext field, and then in the pop-up menu choose same size, same width. So the other Jtext field width now follow the longest width. Okay, now we can add the J button for our add and clear command. So click the J button at the palette and then drag and drop it. Click again another, move it in the working area. You can move it and design it anywhere else you want based on your preference. And then let's have another J button for the exit command. So I think this is too large. Let's resize the J panel. Let's now rename the J button into add, and then edit text for the second button, clear, and then for the third one, exit. Press enter. So this is how it works. So after the design, you can format the other design. Like for example, you can change the font color. In the properties, which is the formatting we desired, and then you can change the format of the text. Number 14. Okay, do the same with the other font. choose the color, format the font. You can also, let's change this one to red, and then let's apply font style and resize the text. That's just if you want to format an object, just simply click the object and then go to the properties and then do the design you want, whatever you desire. Okay, so again, to format the design, just click the object and then change the whatever you like. For example, the foreground, you want to change the font, the style, size, change the font name, for example, Rockwell, so you can see it there at the below the preview. Click OK for the clear button, properties, change the foreground color, format the text, then the exit, make it red, highlight it, and then bold, larger. So if you are satisfied now with the changes you made, you can look at your GUI design and using the preview design icon here at the toolbar. Okay, so this is now how it will look like, your simple calculator. Now we are going to give functionality to the add, clear, and exit buttons. The Jtext field 1 and Jtext field 2 boxes will be used for user input and the Jtext field 3 for program output. What we are creating is a very simple calculator. So let's begin. How to make the exit button work? In order to give function to the buttons, we have to assign an event handler to each to respond to events. In our case, we want to know when the button is pressed, either by mouse click or via keyboard. So we will use action listener responding to action event. So let's close our preview design. To start with, right click the exit button. From the pop-up menu, choose events, select action, click action performed. Note that the menu contains many more events you can respond to. When you select the action performed event, the IDE will automatically add an action listener to the exit button and generate a handler method for handling the listener's action performed method. The IDE will open up the source code and scroll to where you implement the action you want the button to do when the button is pressed. So we are now going to add code for what we want the exit button to do. So in here, so this is the J button 3. So replaced or insert the command system that exit 0. So this would be our instruction for the exit button, so that when the user click the exit button, the dialog box for our simple calculator will be closed. To make our clear button works, so click the design tab at the top of your work area to go back to the form design. Right click the clear button. So from the pop-up menu, select events, choose action, and click action performed. So we're going to have the clear button erase all text from the Jtext fields. So to do this, you will add some code. The code would be like Jtext field, Jtext field 1, set text into blank. So just copy paste the code for the other text field. So highlight it, Control C on your keyboard, enter, Control V, enter, Control V. So for all the three Jtext field, so for the Jtext field 2, Jtext field 3, for all the three Jtext field to set text into blank. So the code changes the text in all three of our Jtext fields to nothing. In essence, it is overwriting the existing text with a blank. To make the add button work, the add button will perform three actions. It is going to accept user input from the Jtext field 1 and Jtext field 2 and convert the input from a type string to a float. It will then perform addition of the two numbers, and finally it will convert the sum to a type string and place it in a Jtext field 3. So let's get started. Click the design tab at the top of your work area to go back to the form design. So right click the add button. Click it first and then right click. From the pop-up menu, select events. Choose action. Right click, events, choose action, and then action performed. So we're going to add some code to have our add button work. So first, we define float variables. Define float variables. So just a comments to remind the programmer what is this command all about. So to define the float variables, so the data type would be float. and then we give variables num1 for the first number, and then num2 for the second number, and result for the sum of the two numbers. Then we have to parse the text. So comment again to remind yourself what is this next instruction for. So we have to parse the text to a type float. So to parse it, we command num1 equals float dot parse float Jtext field 1 dot get text. Do not forget the semicolon to avoid syntax error. Now we can perform the addition in the next line. Type the formula for the addition. Result equals, result is our variable for the sum. Result equals num1 plus num2, our variables for the two numbers. Again, do not forget the semicolon at the last part. So we will now pass the value of result to Jtext field 3. At the same time, we are going to change the value of a result from a float to a string. So Jtext, capital T, Jtext field, capital F, 3 dot set text, capital T, to string that value of capital O result. So two parentheses, and then after two parentheses, semicolon. Our program is now complete. We can now build and run it to see it in action, or if there's an error or bugs to debug. To run the program in the IDE, choose Run on the menu bar, Run Project, or simply press F6 key on the keyboard. If you get a window informing you that project number addition does not have a main class set, then you should select the main number addition as the main class in the same window and click the OK button. So, but it appears like this already. Do not forget to give some time to the program to run. Let's have the sample input. Click the clear button, input first number, and input the second number, and then click add. Okay, then click the clear button again to clear the text field area, and then you may add another number and click add button. Okay, so you check if there's a bug. Is it 5 plus 9 really equals to 14? So if not, then troubleshoot the error or the bugs. So Let's click now the exit button to close the dialog box. To run the program outside of the IDE, so choose Run, clean in Build Project, or simply press Shift plus F11 on the keyboard. Using your system's file explorer or file manager, navigate to the number addition dist directory. So you look for the file where you saved it. So on the desktop, Java folder, and then our package name. You look for the dist folder, and this is our jar file. The executable jar file. Now the location of the number addition project directory depends on the path you specified while creating the project. So you may now double click the number addition jar file, or you can also right click it and then send the shortcut to the desktop, or simply double click it to run it. So the shortcut icon on the desktop, you can also double click it there and then open it. After a few seconds, the application should start. So just like this one. What we are trying to do is we run the program outside of the IDE. So let's check the functionality. Clear 3 plus 5. Click add. So it's 8. Then click exit button. Can now close the Windows Explorer. Now let's try the shortcut icon you created in the desktop. So you click the jar file, double click it to run. So let's arrange the window. So this is now your simple calculator. Let's check the functionality. 9 plus 3. Click add button. 12. Clear. Then exit. So that's it. Let's end our discussion for now. Watch out on our next video lectures. Goodbye, class.